Lord Drakkon is one of the most popular characters in all of Power Rangers, next to Tommy Oliver, and from what has just been released from Bat in the Sun, actually dictates this is all a lie. Now, we know that JDF is no longer with us, and we knew that he loved the Lord Drakkon character. You know, he'd go on about it, he would say how great it was, but something's come up now that's been literally leaked from people who worked with him and who were with him. And I don't think it should have been leaked. I don't think it should have been said whatsoever. I think that it should have been, yeah, let's, he liked it. He liked it. That's all it should have said, rather than what we're about to read now. Now, let's jump over to Twitter and have a look. This caught my attention, I think a while ago, yeah, on the 23rd. And basically it's from Paddy, and they say, so Bat in the Sun is going around saying JDF hated Drakkon. Whether or not this is true, it's kind of messed up that they'd reveal something he'd rather have kept a secret as to not upset the fans. So what is literally said? Let's have a look. So this is from the page. It says, Bat in the Sun. Adam Panuel. In the end, Jason hated the character Lord Drakkon and all he stood for. He symbolized so much betrayal from everyone involved. He always talked favorably towards the character publicly because he never wanted to insult or hurt the fans, but really hated the character. It's why he removed the video from his YouTube channel and unfriended so many involved. Now, hearing this and literally seeing this right now really kind of annoys me, because I think that JDF would never have said this, and that's true. If he hated it or not, I don't think he would have publicly said anything. And if he was still here and he did hate the character, he would move along and move away and probably only talk about it at conventions. So when I see stuff like this really fucking irritates me, because this is something that I don't think that like anyone that's close to him should say. They shouldn't say anything towards JDF, because now they could come out and turn around and say a lot of stuff like, oh my god, he hated this, and oh my god, he never liked being the Green Ranger, he never liked the Power Rangers, he only just went with it for money or whatever. And the fact is that JDF's not here to defend himself, and it also kind of puts maybe JDF in a bad light to some degree, because now they could, Bat in the Sun could turn around and say pretty much anything that they wanted, and this is what really irritates me. Regardless of you enjoyed the character or not, you shouldn't be turning around and saying stuff in for them. Effectively, that's what I'm trying to say. It's just something that is just kind of really infuriates me, because now again they can come out and say whatever they wanted. Oh, like Lord Tom and JDF never liked you at all because of this. And even if like JDF started distancing himself or unfriending so many people involved, at the end of the day, the character has been done. The character is already sorted. There isn't going to be anything that kind of brings this back to the point where he's like, oh, I'm going to remove myself. It's out there. Like, they're not going to get rid of Drakkon because JDF didn't like him. I'm guessing that JDF didn't like a lot of things, but there are things that he would have taken literally to his grave, which he has. And right now, people can come out and say whatever, and I just don't like this sort of thing. At the end of the day, you've worked closely with JDF. This is Bat in the Sun. You've worked closely with JDF for numerous amounts of years, but then what happens if someone came out and says like, oh, actually, he didn't really like working for Bat in the Sun because blah, 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 blah. Like, they could easily turn around and there's nothing that you can do, because it'd be like, well, no, JDF said that he wouldn't have worked with us. Yeah, but he obviously liked Drakkon to some degree. He did this, he did that, and he said all this sort of stuff about Drakkon, and there's no way of disproving this now. Like, effectively, you can't, not unless there is a piece of information out there saying like, oh my god, I absolutely hate Drakkon, blah, 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 and I think it's the worst thing in the world, and just therefore you go, okay, well, yeah, JDF does it. I just don't like it. It's just using his name. Like, I don't like it when like Bat in the Sun use JDF's name now, mainly because effectively it's like, oh yeah, we worked with him, we've got this amazing project. What happens if we found out later on that JDF actually sent to an anonymous fan and went, I fucking hate Legend of the White Dragon, it's not what I want it to be, I'm only doing this because I've put so much money or they've paid me so much, I have to say this. Like, could you imagine that? Like, if they found his JDF's phone and like there was a note in there or something like that. But I want to jump back to Twitter because I want to see what some of the fans are saying about this. So these are the quote retweets. You don't speak for JDF. You ain't his spokesperson, and the dead can't defend himself. Is the family preparing a lawsuit against this guy? They should have. Now, I don't know if you're going to go for a lawsuit. Like, it feels like a big thing on that one. This seems very disrespectful to Jason's memory to come out and say something he didn't want said, which again is true, because to be honest, like, this is something that if he's told them in confidence, then it should stay in confidence. Can Aaron stop speaking for JDF? He's been a douche ever since the first superpower beatdown with the White Ranger versus Scorpion. His crew does amazing work, but I can't support the project when he's just trashing on other things. And again, it's true. Like, me personally, when I've watched Bat in the Sun and stuff, like, their stuff's really impressive, but to be honest, it's just a bit, Legend of the White Dragon I'll probably watch, but part of me doesn't have exactly high hopes for it. Okay, why would he tell us this knowing JDF didn't want his fans to know? Like, what were we supposed to do with this information? And again, very, very true, because at the end of the day, like, what's it going to do? You know, it's like, what are we going to do with this information? Which is, obviously, I'm making a video on it. But JDF didn't want us knowing. But now I can give him all the secrets and stuff. And I swear to God, like, I am going to go on a limb and say, like, they will come out at some point and just say, oh yeah, he hated a certain amount of his fans. Oh, this is how rumors get started. Well, I love Drakkon. Bat in the Sun is going to end up being a problem, huh? Classless. I thought it said classiness. Why say that after he died? Classless on their part. Yep, true. Honestly, it doesn't shock me since it kills the whole point of Tommy's character. Kind of classless to bring this up after his death, though. This could have stayed private, and I wholeheartedly agree. Damn, bro. Man, this shit sucks, bro. This kind of isn't surprising since he also shit on the Power Stroke Ranger fan film. He hated it because it went against what the Rangers stood for. Probably didn't say the same thing. Probably didn't say the same publicly with Drakkon out of a professional obligation. And I can understand that as well. Like, again, the Power Stroke Rangers fan film wasn't the greatest. I've spoken about that. I kind of really want to go back and redo it since, well, I used to think and stuff like that. But I know that JDF wouldn't have said anything about this because he wasn't that sort of person to do that. And obviously, Iroh replied, this is kind of messed up. It would have been better if they didn't say anything at all. And that's true. That is very, very true. Regardless of anything, JDF is not here to defend himself or talk about this. At the end of the day, if he wanted fans to believe that he loved Lord Drakkon, it should have stayed like that. It shouldn't be up to people that worked with him just to turn around and say, hey, this is what JDF really said. Because at the end of the day, as I said in this video, they could make up anything to talk about it and be like, hey, did you know that JDF fucking hated you all? Well, you do now, and then that's it. So when hearing this and when seeing this, I generally just think that Bat in the Sun shouldn't say anything about JDF. Just turn around and say, yeah, this is really cool. This is awesome. But don't turn around and say, like, oh, this is what he told us in private. Because at the end of the day, if JDF had seen this, he probably would have gone, I never said that. You know, how dare you just make this up or whatever. But obviously now Bat in the Sun are going to run around because, A, they worked with him constantly on and off. But what else could they turn around and say? At the end of the day, I don't think that they should have said this whatsoever. But I'm going to leave it there. What are your thoughts all on this? Let me know down below in the comments, and I'm going to leave it there. Thank you very much for watching, and I will catch you in the next video.
チャンネルをサポートしてくれてありがとうございます。チャンネル登録、高評価お願いします。以下のリンクから商品を入手することができます。